It's a great privilege to have a driver's license, and I can go to work, I can do my day-to-day things that I need to do for my family and not feel like I was a criminal. When I got my license suspended, I was so proud that I had my license since I was 16 with nothing happening to it. And then that happened and I'm like, oh, I was crushed. I had 3 children, young, taking care of my father. And, I needed to go places, got pulled over, didn't even know my license was suspended.
Prior to the reform, if you missed a payment on a traffic ticket or if you just missed a hearing, they would suspend your license. In the state of New Mexico, if you're convicted of a sex offense, there is not a mandatory jail sentence, but there was if you were driving on a suspended license.
Many people don't even know their license is suspended when they drive, even though all they're doing is driving and they may just have an unpaid broken taillight ticket that they couldn't afford to pay. If they are pulled over, they may end up in jail that day. Depending on where you live, you can be charged fees for booking, an arrest fee. You can be charged for your own prosecution. You can be charged fees that are associated with going through the court process. You can be charged a fee for your public defender. These are taxes that are only being imposed on people who have contact with the justice system, who we know are very disproportionately poor, are disproportionately Black and brown.
I lived on the cash assistance and I did have a side job, but I was always scared. Once I found out that my license was suspended and I wasn't able to pay the fines, I was always watching my back. And then I found myself too in front of the judge, not knowing what to say or what to do, and just wanted to get out of there and run.
I thought of courts as a place where we did justice. And this was such a fundamentally unjust thing to do.
We are using the justice system to fund government on the backs of the poorest communities.
A lot of people commute for their jobs. It's the quickest way to drive people deeper into poverty is to take their car away. We're in a very rural state. Public transportation is minimal, and even though it exists, it's not that great. So many people lost their jobs because they lost their license. And that has a huge financial impact on the entire family unit.
You have fees and fines that you have to pay. It puts a lot of stress on family, on your kids, your bills, what you're going to eat.
The people who are closest to the problem are the people who can best solve the problem. And so in making sure that the work we do is in tandem with community and making sure that they set the priorities.
For us here in New Mexico, it was so important to build an advisory board. This work is more than public comment. It's participatory decision-making.
Because of what I went through, I feel that it was really important to help others not have to go through that.
Being scared when I was in that courtroom, not knowing what to say, didn't want to go to jail, so I said I'd pay fines and knew that I couldn't and had no understanding of the law and what was my rights and stuff. So being able to share my lived experience, that's what's brought me here today with the Fines and Fees Board.
I am a part of Fines and Fees Advisory Board, and we're able to get together and truly identify what people are going through and change laws that need to be changed here in our state.
Building authentic relationships with people that have the power to change policy is important. The more we are in community with legislators, judges, police officers, all these people, the better outcomes we'll have.
I've served for 20 years. And during that time here in New Mexico, certainly we've been on a real roller coaster with our budget. We would fill in budget shortfalls with new fines and new fees. And so Senate Judiciary Committee, we talk about that and the impact that has on those that could least afford to pay.
Sometimes you can do work at the local level that will impact the reform at the state level. I had a couple of counselors who were interested in doing things, and I said, well, there's this legislation to get rid of the policy of suspending driver's licenses for failure to pay fees, and I think this is something we should get involved in. I think this is something we can help move. This is the second bill that I'm bringing forward under the broad umbrella of fines and fees. The city council here adopted both the ordinance change and the resolution in support of the state reform unanimously. When you can point to a community that's actually made the change, I think that's helpful in demonstrating that it's a policy worth looking at.
Mona and other advisory board members came and testified for the city and the state ordinance.
I agreed to payments I knew I could not afford for fear of being put in jail.
We were able just to collaborate and talk with our state representatives, and that's how we were able to get those driver's license restored, those that were suspended.
And working with local fines and fees advocates, we introduced a bill and did it in a bipartisan fashion.
Today, there are thousands of safe drivers on the road who've had their licenses suspended simply because they can't pay. It's pretty tough to get back on your feet when you don't have your car to go to work.
And we're able to get it through both chambers and sign into law.
Senate Bill 47 has passed the Senate. Senator Wirth.
What the bill does is the Motor Vehicle Division can no longer suspend anyone's license for failure to appear and failure to pay at a state level. They were directed to automatically reinstate all licenses that had been suspended for that reason without requiring the reinstatement fee. So it was huge.
Passing the bill is step one. Making sure it's benefiting all of the people it actually needs to help and is designed to help is an even bigger project that we're still in the midst of.
We've made remarkable progress on driver's license suspensions. Unlike most issues in the United States today, fines and fees reform is truly a bipartisan issue. People on the left and the right both recognize that raising revenue through the justice system is fundamentally wrong.
There is common recognition that is non-political, completely non-political, about why we need to change the system. When we started talking about fines and fees 10 years ago, almost no one knew what I was speaking about. And fast forward just 10 years and you look at what's been accomplished. We now have more than half the states have passed some reform around driver's license suspensions.
I feel empowered. The weight of not having to look over my shoulders anymore and not have to worry about getting pulled over. Free. It feels freeing.